No, that's good. That's good because I listened to the first draft of our holiday Christmas special, which, by the way, is sort of a very untraditional holiday Christmas special in that it's not this romantic comedy about two people falling in love and all the joy, family, warm feelings that you feel. It's about a guy who pretty much wants to kill his wife.
Right. Yeah.
Something that Steve's mom sounds like she would enjoy.
Yeah. So I think you need to tell your mom about this because she's going to love it.
She'll be the number one fan of this.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I'm really in love with this. I love our actors and what they did with this, and I love the stuff that you've been doing with it, Sam. I mean,
thank you.
If you enjoyed our Halloween special, and if you haven't watched or listened to it yet, I mean, by all means, check out our website and listen to it. The Halloween audio drama that we did was just
lights out.
Yeah, lights out. It was a good show. Like I almost feel guilty bragging about it because I was involved with it, but so many people brought so much talent to that piece that I'm proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, and from what I've listened of the first 3 acts of the holiday one,
right?
Like this one's so much better to me now. Like, and I think it might just be the story, and I'm really getting into the characters, and it's also partly because I purposely did not read the end of this, so I don't know how it ends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I purposely didn't because I knew that Sammy would be sending out clips for us to edit and everything. I was like, no, I just want to see how I feel as being a first-time listener to this thing. Yeah. And so, because you said your wife, she's wanted more.
Oh, she's totally into it.
And that's how I am. Like, okay, Sam, I got to bother you on Google Plus here. How do I get the next chapter? Yeah.
More chapters are coming.
Okay.
So, no worries.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, the cool thing for me is so Shireen listened to it and she never read the script. She didn't hear anything. This was her first experience with it. And she really connected with it because for her, it really felt like a melodrama. She really loves the British miniseries like Downton Abbey and all these midwife show.
The Tudors.
And, she tried to get. She got a little bit into the Tudors.
I was
not
just
so much,
kidding.
yeah. But she loves these, really just sort of melodrama, soap opera type shows. And she was upset because it didn't finish. And she only got to listen to part of it, but
so that's why she didn't look at me when I came in today.
Yeah, that might have been a part of it.
Might have been the glare.
It might have been the glare. Yeah. So for me, it was really fun to see. I mean, just as sort of, I don't want to call myself an artist, but whatever those lines are, it's fun to be a part of, a creative group that can do something like HOA Police and then do these audio dramas that are really, the last one was really dramatic and sort of horror and, even a little over the top, and then do something like this that is very much a melodrama, kind of a soap opera, but it's still a Christmas episode, and it's still very suspenseful and dramatic, and it's just fun to be a part of a group that can do all these different things. And it's for me, it's been a lot of fun. And again, Sam, you've been doing a terrific job of pulling all these elements together.
Thank you.
Our actors that we've been able to tap into have just been doing a terrific job. And I'm really excited for this episode to come out, and I'm really excited for our next episode, which Steve is going to direct.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be coming out. We're already planning that in a couple months, and that's going to be a cool show. Steve's already told me a little bit about what he wants.
So now I don't know where to segue into, because I was going to say let's talk about some more non-traditional holiday movies, but now I just want to talk to Sammy about some audio dramas. Sorry, Jeff. So Sammy really got me into this whole audio thing, and he listens to a lot of audio dramas, and the first one that I got hooked on, you all know, was the We're Alive, the zombie survival podcast. And once you get completely caught up with something like that, all of a sudden it really sucks to have to wait 2 weeks for another episode.
Right.
And so then the other one that he told me about was the Byron Chronicles, which was also very good, but they suck on their release dates because sometimes it might be 6 months before they get a new episode.
Yeah, they don't really have a schedule.
Yeah, so now I'm listening to Edict Zero. So I've got 3 different ones, and it takes a few episodes. Sammy warned me about this. She's like, you got to stick through it for a few hours, and then you'll get. And I'm totally hooked on this one. So my question for you, Sammy, one of them I had was how did you find these audio dramas in particular? Were you looking for something certain, or were you just throwing it out there, trying stuff out.
Yeah, I think We're Alive was the first one, and I don't actually remember how I found that.
Okay.
But from there, I just found some audio. There's some audio drama sites on the internet that have lists of audio dramas, and I think part of the reason I listened to We're Alive in the beginning is because I always wanted to do something like that. From an audio perspective, I thought it'd be a cool idea for our group if we ever got around to doing something like an audio drama. And there was actually two that I started listening to. One is We're Alive, and the other one is called Leviathan Chronicles. Mm-hmm. And those seem to be based on just different forums I read. People were saying those were two of the ones that had really good production values. And so I'm like, okay, I want to start listening to those. And then I just through forums and some of these audio drama directories that are on the internet, you can find a whole slew of audio dramas out there, and some of them are better than others, but there are a lot.
Right.
There are a lot. And so it's just sort of finding what I like and, listening to, I like this, I don't like that, so I'm going to continue down this road, and it's just kind of like hit and miss.
Right.
But there's a lot. There's fan recreations of Star Trek and some of the Batman and Superman and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of really creative people out there doing some cool stuff.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because even with the We're Alive one, there's now a separate podcast that's talking about the We're Alive episodes. That's a fan thing, and stuff. So it's interesting how it spreads. But so. Jeff, We're Alive, we'll tell you about this, is a zombie one.
Right.
And production value-wise, I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. It's got some good narrative to it. The characters are great. You hate some die, and it's your favorite character, and stuff like that. I mean, it's like watching an episode of The Walking Dead or something.
Right.
So that was the first one I totally got hooked on. Byron Chronicles, production value is not as well there. Even some of the acting's a little cheesy, but it's a really cool story world. It's
a zombie one as well.
It's
correct?
not. It's a
it's
supernatural one, I guess you could say, because
okay.
there are zombies and
there are
wizards
zombies.
And dragons and demons and angels and it's
Dracula,
Dracula. All
they
these. They
span the wide range of mythology.
Right.
Yeah,
they cover everything in it, and so it's kind of like that movie that even if it's a bad movie, if it made me think of a story in a different way, it still was good to me, and that's how I think Byron Chronicles is.
I will say, too, just to interrupt real quick, the guy who does Byron, David Alt, is unbelievable as a voice actor. I think that's what really hooked me on it. I mean, I like the themes and stuff they deal with, but he is such a good voice actor that's wow. And so that was really one of the things that drew me to it, was just his voice acting.
And it was the Leviathan Chronicles that's part of the Byron Chronicles, or no? There's the darker project thing. There's
the darker project.
Because Byron came out in a different series, and he was in his own little episode, and I listened to that, and it's a different voice actor because it's a different.
I think
it's not the same accent or something like that is what it is. So I like the character that David Alt plays it in the actual Byron Chronicles, but I love his attitude and everything too.
It's just so smirky, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Now let me ask you guys this: now that you guys have listened to a few different shows, what's your desert island show? If you got stuck on a desert island, you had one show to listen to. What would be your one audio drama you'd be stuck?
I think for me, it would be Edict Zero.
Okay.
Just because.
And Edict Zero is?
It's kind of a sci-fi.
Okay.
It's a sci-fi
crime,
futuristic.
You've listened to it?
Yeah, this is the one that I just started on. That I'm only 5 or 6 episodes in, which each episode's an hour long, pretty much. But this is the one that. This is why I was asking Sammy how he finds them, because if I had listened to this one, I probably wouldn't have continued on. I only continued on because he egged me to do it, and he recommended it. And now I'm glad I did, because it, unlike the other ones, production value is amazing in it. Voice acting, I think, is really good in it, but there's no narration at all.
Right. It's
so different. It is exactly like watching a TV show. You'll have a little voiceover thing at the beginning that says, the time is 12:29, you're in Citizen whatever, and this is this. And it just goes right into the acting.
Got it.
So it's just the music, the voices, and the sound effects. That's it.
Right.
There's not a single description. A character doesn't even describe, what's happening. And so you have to be paying a lot of attention to it. Yeah. But if you do, it is my favorite. It was probably going to be my same choice as Edict Zero.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Sam, what was your reasoning? Like, why was this going to be your desert island show?
I think for me, I guess I'm a little more aligned to the sci-fi world. I mean, the zombies are cool.
You get some extra brownie points because of the genre, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And then there are a couple of characters in there that just, Steve and I were talking about it beforehand. There's this character called Socrates on there.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
good.
Just awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome. And it's like every time he's in a scene, I'm like perking up, like what's he going to say? Because he's a little off.
Right.
He's a little off. And you just don't know what he's going to say. And then everything he says just seems to be like pure butter, man. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
But that's not to knock on the other ones. They're all great. I mean, but what's really cool, and I've mentioned this before, I think, when I was talking to Steve, it's so cool to me that, like, with these audio dramas, you can do them in such a different way and still be successful. So, like the Leviathan Chronicles is really heavy in narration. They have a lady who has a British accent. She's great. But it's really heavily narrated, even describing what's going on in a scene while it's happening, kind of thing.
Right.
And then you have We're Live, which doesn't use a narrator, but the characters will often narrate their own scenes. Like, we did this or this thing happened. And then you have something like Edict Zero, which has no narration at all.
Right.
And it's so cool. It's like so many different ways to do the same thing, and they all get the job done.
Right.
And that's what's great to me. It's like filmmaking. There's different ways you can shoot a movie. There's different ways you can do an audio drama. And so it's like it's just really exciting to me that people do it all these different ways and they're successful. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now, with Edict Zero, are you, like, if you, again, going back to the stuck on a desert island.
Yeah.
If it was, like, are you hooked that much into the story that if you were stuck on this desert island, that the story would continue, throughout the rest of your life on this desert island, that this story has hooked you enough that you think it can sustain you? Or do you think it would play out at a certain point?
So you mean like I would take the story in my own way on the desert island?
Or, no, just that you feel like if you're going to be on this desert island for another 20 years, that the story could carry out that long, or do you think that the story is going to play out at some point?
Probably not 20 years.
Okay.
I think it would play out at some point.
Okay.
But it would carry me for a while.
Okay.
It would.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it would carry me longer than like the zombie podcast, the zombie one would, or anything like that, because I'm already starting. I think I'm more caught up with it than Sammy is, because I'm actually current up to the last episode on it. But you're already starting to see some repeats of certain storyline things, even though some characters are changing. There's certain things that are this is just how it's going to be. Like, either they're moving to a different camp, or because something went wrong with the other camp and they got attacked, or whatever it might be.
Now, is Edict Zero your choice as well?
Edict Zero would be my choice as well, but I don't know if that's just because like it seems like it's got such a rich story in this sci-fi world. It's New Earth and stuff like that, and the way the islands are and everything. So
it's not so much that the story would play out that long for you, but the replay value is there, maybe?
Yeah. I think the replay value, because I know that I could re-listen to Edict Zero and pick up on different things than I did the first time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, the zombie podcast, they set out from the beginning that it was going to be a 4-season deal. Mm-hmm. Now they may change their mind. It kind of sounds like they're not going to.
Right.
But so they had an arc already.
Do they
built into it?
When season, I mean, in TV, I have an idea of what a season is like, but in online radio dramas, is season a little bit different, a little bit more vague term?
The way they determine it is that usually the chapter is usually 3 15-minute episodes. Mm-hmm. 15 to 20-minute episodes, and they usually have, 20 chapters in a season.
Okay.
And so about 20 hours worth of...
And how often do they release?
It's every 2 weeks, and
2
then
weeks, okay.
in that particular audio drama, they usually have like a 6-month window where they don't do anything.
Okay.
Maybe 4 to 6 months where they're off, and they're writing, and they're doing other stuff, and then they bring everybody back on, and they start up again. So there's a big drop-off. In like the Byron Chronicles, it's like you just never know when they're going to anyone's going to come out. You could go 2 months and not have anything, and all of a sudden you get 2.
Oh wow!
And then, so there's no real schedule there. Same with Edict Zero. There was a schedule for